My sponsor was literally calling sexual assault inside the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous God's will, essentially. She's like, stay on your side of the street. That's God's will. Maybe God's using him to get people sober or whatever. So all of that, yeah, should be illegal. Welcome to the Sobriety Bestie podcast. I am Kirsten, your hostess today and your friend in this deprogramming AA adventure we've been on. Today is part 2 in our 8 signs AA is controlling your mind. Part 2 is mystical manipulation. This 8-part series is based on Dr. Robert J. Lifton's framework for thought reform, which is another way to say brainwashing or mind control. These are the 8 traits Lifton observed in brainwashing environments like Maoist China, and they map eerily to Alcoholics Anonymous. So what is mystical manipulation? This is part 2, mystical manipulation. Mystical manipulation is when the group orchestrates experiences, coincidence, or spiritual truths to make it seem like something bigger is guiding you. Side note, I have a hard time with this one because I still have a lot of this running in my head. I'm not against it. It kind of is a part of my life. And so I'm kind of like, And I didn't really have this going on before AA. So I'm kind of in this, I'm in the process too, just being honest. So it gives the illusion that God, the universe, or fate is affirming your place in the program, but behind the curtain, it is really social conditioning, repetition, and emotional vulnerability being used to control your behavior. So how AA uses mystical manipulation, you're here for a reason, the messages, every meeting you attend or experiences in the meeting are divinely orchestrated. There is a higher power running through everything. There are no coincidences inside Alcoholics Anonymous. If something resonates with you, that is God talking to you. I still am undecided on this. Like I said, this one was hard for me because I'm like, what do I actually believe here? So I am critically thinking with you along on this. How is AA controlling our mind adventure we're having? If you doubt or question something and then feel bad later, that is proof your ego is the problem. This is part of the AA deal. So your intuition is reinterpreted as divine confirmation of the group's truth. Then we have spiritualized gaslighting. That resentment, it's blocking you from God. That gut feeling, that is your disease talking. You can't trust yourself. You can't trust your thinking. Every uncomfortable or thought becomes like a spiritual defect or some sort of defective character or a fear, something that is blocking you from your higher power. Don't worry, we have 12 steps to unblock you from that higher power access. Even your own inner voice gets rewritten to align with the program. So emotional highs in meetings are framed as God moments. Is it odd or is it God? Like, that was always what I said. Because there is something that's happening. That's why this one's so hard for me, because there is something that's happening in the meeting. There is something that's happening with the whole God phenomenon and with the chills and with the unity and the connection and all of that. So these God moments, it's not that they aren't actual moments where your body is having a physical experience, like a very visceral embodied thing. So I'm in the inquiry now of what the fuck is that? What the fuck is going on? And so I'm always wanting to think critically and question what I believe and see if it still lands through my critical thinking, if it still lands as true for me. So tears, chills, deep resonance equal a spiritual awakening. But if you're in a heightened emotional environment, like Alcoholics Anonymous, like the meetings are, like doing your inventory and your steps with your sponsor is, shared trauma, maybe even dim lighting and vulnerability and the repetition, this creates that sense of heightened emotion, especially when you feel seen or connected in ways that you normally don't. It is feeling like something bigger is going on. These are real emotions, and the program is claiming that this is proof that the program works. AA takes your emotional responses and assigns them religious meaning that reinforces your loyalty to the program. Yes, it's a lot. In some situations, sponsors are framed as God proxies, like they're channeling divine wisdom or they're a mouthpiece for God. If they hurt you or control you, that's God's will. That's God's will for you. The video I did on the episode I did on the craziest thing my sponsor ever said, which was about the 13th step, is that my sponsor was literally calling sexual assault inside the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous God's will, essentially. She literally straight up said that this specific predator and the rape he was committing was God's will. And not directly in those words, but that's exactly what she was saying. She's like, stay on your side of the street, that's God's will. Maybe God's using him to get people sober or whatever. So all of that, yeah, it should be illegal. It's not cool. Anything you experience outside of AA can be reframed as the disease. If you leave the program and something bad happens, that's what happens when you leave. The disease is cunning, baffling, and powerful. It will try to talk you out of this. This creates a no exit belief system. Staying equals God. Leaving equals your disease tricking you. Coincidences are always interpreted in a way that affirms AA's authority. I mean, I was even on Bill Wilson's grave crying, thanking him for my life, having this whole spiritual experience. And that experience was very real for me. I really was crying, and I really did believe that in that moment that he saved my life and he channeled the big book from the divine. And that's also part of the indoctrination. That's how it's tricky, because it's like you get indoctrinated into the ideology, and then you think that you're having these thoughts for yourself, but like that's not how I thought before I got to AA, and that's not really what I think now at all. It's literally a sales book. The big book is a sales book. That's how I see it now. God's will aligns with the group's will. Have you noticed that? Is that true for you? And gratitude can be weaponized to shut down doubt. You should be grateful that you're sober. You should just be of service. Get out of your head and help other people. Your suffering becomes fuel to go deeper into the system and never to actually reason with it or to question it. For me, it comes down to not outsourcing our agency or autonomy to a sponsor, to anybody else, to slogans, to an ideology, to a group, even to a higher power. It's to make the choices for ourselves, to bring the power back into ourselves and say, what do I want? What are my desires? What feels right for me? What does my intuition say? What does my thinking say? What does my heart want? To bring it back into yourself, to not be like, I prayed about it and I'm waiting to hear from God, or my sponsor hasn't called me back yet, or whatever. It's like, no, bringing the power back to yourself and making the decisions based upon however you want to make the decisions, but being empowered and reconnecting with your intuition outside of the dogma and having that new relationship with what you feel in your body. And so that was part 2, mystical manipulation. Tomorrow we have part 3, which is demand for purity in this 8-part series. If you would like to go further in this work of deprogramming AA, I do have an online course. I will link it below. It is called Deprogram, and it will unfuck your mind from Alcoholics Anonymous so you can reclaim your voice, your autonomy, your agency, your freedom, and your life. Oh, and your purpose, because AA also decides our purpose for us, doesn't it? I would love to hear from you in the comments. What are your thoughts? How is this mind control series going for you? And I will see you tomorrow in the next episode.